All the votes and some of the ballots still being counted out there, but the votes are in. Key races have been decided. Well, we are still waiting for some others. Control of the United States Senate and House still remains up in the air this morning, with some key Senate races still too close to call. CBS News says that the House is leaning Republican, but a red wave did not happen. Now, here in Minnesota, Republicans just minutes ago conceded that they will lose control of the Minnesota State Senate. DFL has called a news conference for this morning, saying that they now have a 34-33 majority in the Senate, and we will stream that live at 11 o'clock this morning on CBS News Minnesota. Governor Tim Walz did sail to re-election, but we're still waiting to see if Keith Ellison will remain Attorney General or if Jim Schultz will defeat him. Neither party was able to flip any of the Minnesota U.S. House seats. Closest House race was in the second, but overnight we learned that Representative Angie Craig won re-election there. She beat out Tyler Kistner by 5 percentage points. Now, this was a rematch from their 2020 race where Craig won with fewer than 10,000 votes. This time around, she won by more than 17,000.
And as Heather just mentioned, the race for Attorney General has not been called yet, but with 100% of the vote in, incumbent Keith Ellison is ahead of Republican challenger Jim Schultz by nearly 21,000 votes. Governor Tim Walz easily won a second term in office. He beat Republican challenger Dr. Scott Jensen by nearly 8 percentage points. Pauleen Lee joins us live now to break down the governor's race.
Hey guys, yeah, for voters, it all depended on your vision for Minnesota, right? So Walz ran on a One Minnesota campaign, the idea of coming together. Jensen was all about healing Minnesota from all of the missteps from the Walz administration. Although it was all focused around the key issues of abortion, education, and Walz's response to the COVID pandemic. Walz hammered Jensen for previously saying that he wanted no exceptions in terms of abortion for rape or incest, despite shifting his stance later on. He also attacked Jensen for saying that he wanted to defund schools by giving huge tax breaks to the rich. Jensen, however, fought back, showing crime had spiked under the Walz's watch by 22%. He also pressed Walz about his response to the coronavirus pandemic, especially the impact the shutdown had on our schools and businesses.
We do so much better when we find our common ground. We know that there's been a lot of division. We know these last few years have been challenging. They've been challenging on COVID. They've been challenging in our political discourse. But Minnesotans made a conscious choice tonight to choose a positive future, to choose one where our better days lie ahead.
I sort of landed on 4 words that I thought would be appropriate whether we won or lost. And those words were victory, humility, loss, resilience. And I think that's where we're at. We would have loved to have been victorious. We thought we should be victorious. We thought we spoke to the issues that could really be affected by this election.
Now, even though Walz won a second term, Jensen resonated with Minnesotans, so much so that he was able to flip 8 counties across the state. That included Winona and Houston in the southeast corner of the state, as well as Anoka County right here in the metro. AJ?
All right, thank you, Pauline.
Let's get back to our election coverage, checking in on some of the other races now. The man who oversees our elections, Steve Simon, wins a 3rd term, defeating his Republican challenger, Kim Crockett.
Now let's head to Wisconsin, because this Senate race is still too close to call. GOP Senator Ron Johnson is holding a slight lead over Mandela Barnes.
CBS News projecting Democrat Tony Evers has won a 2nd term as Wisconsin's governor. Evers defeating Republican challenger Tim Michels 51 to 48%. Our coverage of the election results will continue in our second half hour, including a history-making win for sheriff in Hennepin County.